Welcome back. We're continuing our series and talking with your local elected, the people who are running for local, let me start this over. I'm sorry. It's the first time I've had to do that. 3, 2, and 1.
When you're ready.
3, 2, 1. Welcome back. WMBD is your local election headquarters, and we're speaking with candidates running for your local elected positions. And today, joining us running for Peoria County Clerk is Gabe McLeod. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Eugene.
All right, so I want to go ahead and start with your desire to run for this position. Why do you believe that you should be the person to be the next Peoria County Clerk?
Absolutely. So I've been an operational manager in the Peoria County Clerk's office for over 12 years and a leader in the office. And I was tapped by my mentor, the late Steve Sonemaker, who was a former county clerk, to go ahead and improve the services of the county clerk's office. And during my time, that's what I've done. I've improved our services. I've made our operations more efficient, our services more accessible, and importantly, I protected our community's most valuable records. And I've done this with a fiscally conservative approach while saving tax dollars money. And I hope to have the opportunity to talk to you a little bit more about how important these vital records are in the office and what I've done with them. Additionally, I've also created many in-house softwares, tools for our team members, which allowed us to provide better services to our community. For example, some people may have seen my commercial. I was responsible for creating the first online marriage application program in the state of Illinois. This was a huge time saver for our community and our staff, and hope to talk a little bit more about that. In addition, I was part of the management team, and I led the process of merging the Recorder of Deeds office and the county clerk's office. Doing this, during my time doing this, we implemented best practices in the office, and I redesigned the office workflow, which increased productivity, allowed us to do more with less. And prior to the office merging, I rewrote all the job descriptions for all of our team members, which allowed us to do cross-training upon the merger. And just to put that into context, in 2014, when the voters approved the merger of the Recorder of Deeds office and the county clerk's office, there was 20 full-time employees between the two offices. Today, we operate with 12 and a half full-time employees. So the results are real. With the improvements I put in place, we do more with less, we're more productive, more efficient, and we've saved tax dollars. In addition to all this, being there 12 years in office, I'm responsible for the property tax extension cycle in the county clerk's office, an important service that's not as well known within our community, but it results in me calculating the property tax rates for all the taxing districts in Peoria County. Taking that rate and extending it on to over 88,000 parcels in the county, which results in me overseeing the billing of $320 million annually for all of our taxing districts. So I believe my operational experience, my improvements I've brought to the office, really modernized the office over the last 12 years, provides the community and our taxpayers with the best value, electing me for your next Peoria County Clerk.
And what about your background, where you're from, and then also if you can tell people educationally kind of background that kind of led you to this place?
Sure. So I was born and raised in the greater Peoria area from central Illinois. I went on to Western Illinois University. I'm a Leatherneck, and I graduated with a bachelor's degree in business. And Steve Sonemaker, my mentor, hired me right out of college and brought me into the county clerk's office.
What was that like working with Steve Sonemaker? I mean, the late Steve Sonemaker that was so heralded in his position as clerk and with the county for decades before he passed away just last year. What was it like working for him, and what were some of the other things that you learned from working underneath him that will serve you well in leadership within Peoria County Clerk if elected?
Yeah, absolutely. Steve was a fixture in the county for almost 40 years. He had the respect of everybody in the community and within the courthouse. He was just a remarkable and incredible man. He provided so many valuable lessons. He could bring people together and get stuff done. That's what I really took from him. But what he really instilled in me, and his mantra, was to always be fair, honest, and transparent. And that's something I'd really like to continue to bring forward, is to always be fair, honest, and transparent.
Yeah, Steve was one of the most helpful people in my position. I will certainly say that, and helpful for a lot of people. You mentioned your commercial, and you do have a commercial that's out right now. And one of the things it speaks to is being able to streamline online the marital processes for applications. You kind of hinted towards it to kind of talk about that a little bit more. And I do want to ask you, how does that, I mean, in that small way, maybe for things that what people don't really think of, how does that help and save taxpayers money and time?
Yeah, so that's been one of my huge things that I want to produce for the community, and that's what I'm passionate about, is trying to provide the best service for our community. We're so busy all the time with our families, but as government, it's important we provide these services, but provide them efficiently and cost-effective so you can get on with your time and your day. So prior to implementing this program, it was taking our team members between 35 and 45 minutes to process a marriage application. Now, it wasn't their fault. The state requires us, mandates us to collect a lot of information. But it became embarrassing to me because sometimes couples would have to get up and leave our office and go put more money in the parking meter around the courthouse, which was going to take it even more time. So my goal has always been just to modernize the office and bring the services into the 21st century. So I looked at it and I was like, how can I solve this problem? And so I came with the idea of saying, hey, let me create the first online marriage application program in the state of Illinois. Nobody's done this. What this did is allowed couples, prior to coming to our office, to submit all their information online, just from using an iPad. So it took out that time. So they could just come into our office, pay, sign the document, and go ahead and leave with a packet of information. First having to come in and us put in all the information for them. And it's taken the time today now down to 7 to 10 minutes. So this was just a huge time saver for our applicants, our community, and for our staff. It allows us to do more because instead of being tied up for 35 or 45 minutes, we're only there for 7 or 10 minutes with that couple. We can serve more people with less staff.
Let me ask you, you talked about a lot of things that you've been able to accomplish in your role with the clerk's office. What would you do differently, and what would you do to advance the position if you were to be elected?
Sure. So it's continuing to protect our community's most valuable records. And just to give some context with that and touch on that is in the clerk's office, we have the important responsibility of storing and issuing a certified copy of birth, marriage, death, and land records. So, and our community is really starting to find out for the first time how important these records are with the Real ID. So the first time you go to get this new Real ID, the one with the gold star, you'll be able to have to fly domestically, or apply for a passport, or apply for your retirement health insurance, or your health retirement accounts. You're going to need a certified copy of your birth record. And if you changed your name through marriage, you're going to need a certified copy of your marriage record. Now, 12 years ago, when I walked into this clerk's office, all we had for the majority of these records was just one paper copy. That's it, one paper copy. If there was ever an unforeseen event or a natural disaster and your record was lost or destroyed, it was gone. For example, we're the only ones that has your marriage record if you were married in Peoria County. So what I did is I took it upon myself at no additional cost to us taxpayers, and used the existing purchase software in the county. And I had our team go to work on digitizing and indexing all these vital records, which made an electronic copy and protected your record. But that's not where it stopped. It did another thing. It greatly increased the speed at which we can issue that certified copy. So prior to this time, if you came in to our office and you requested your record, it would take one of our team members, would have to leave the counter, walk all the way to the back of the office, pick up a big, heavy 15-pound index book, lead them to a big, heavy 15-pound register book, then to either a bin or a book with your record that was falling apart to a copy. It was a long, drawn-out process. Today, now that this record is digitized, when you come in to get your record, to get your new Real ID, right there at the counter, we'll just receipt you. We won't leave the counter. We'll step right over to our computer. We'll print your record right onto certified paper. We'll sign it, seal it, put it, hand it to you. You'll be out the door in 5 minutes or less. This has been, again, a huge time saver for our community and for our staff, and that's what I'm about, and I will continue to do that. So moving forward, I want to completely digitalize the county clerk's office. Any record we're required to permanently keep, I want to have it digitized and indexed, and all the non-confidential records, make them accessible online to our community. That's what it's about, making everything accessible to our community.
Can I ask why that process, in your mind, hasn't already taken place in its entirety? I mean, we're the century that we're in, why everything is not digital, and then in doing that, I can't believe there couldn't be any cost that it would incur for taxpayers. So what are we looking like if that were to take place?
So why it would take additional cost would be, and why a lot of other local governments haven't taken that step, is because there's so many records. So there's over 1 million vital records just in our office. And a lot of times they don't have the staffing levels or the software or just the commitment to be able to do this in-house or the know-how to do it in-house. So they have to reach out to other businesses that come in and charge millions of dollars to digitize this and index it. The key point is the indexing part. That's where the cost is so heavy. Because if you don't index the record, how do you retrieve it? So when I say index, it's like Google, right? When you type something in and it brings back a result instantly for you. When you digitize and index it, you can search by keyword. We've done that in-house with our current staff. What happens is, as we did this with more and more records, this increased the speed of the counter, which was able us to meet demand quicker, which then gave us more time to continue to do this. Once the snowball got going, it got really big. We were able to produce a lot. A lot of other local governments haven't had that ability or don't know how to do it, and the cost is so great to use another company to do that for you.
All right, any last things that you would like to say as people are going to be making their decisions on March 17th?
Yeah, I would just like to say that if you want somebody who's managed the office, the operations, for over a decade and really knows the office and understands how important these records are to our community and how important these services are to your community, and who's dedicated his entire professional career as a public servant to providing the best service to our community and our office, then I would ask them to please remember me on March 17th and vote for Gabe McLeod, or vote early.
All right. Well, Gabe McLeod, running for Peoria County Clerk, best of luck to you.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it,
Absolutely.
Eugene.
We'll be right back.